right, so we are officially in that season, and these are the top 5 meta decks you can play to try and win your respective nationals. Please like the video if you enjoy it, and let me know what you're going to be picking up for Nats. Is it going to be a weird underdog option, or are you just opting for Snake Eyes, you know, because it's the best deck? So let me know your choices. I would love to hear them. But before we get started with the video, I just want to quickly remind you guys that the Sleeve Chief biggest sale of the year, the anniversary sale, is online, and you can get products for 40% off plus additional 5 with my code Shadow. So if you're looking to snatch some really cool new accessories, make sure you go through my link in the description box below, which also helps the channel. And I'm pretty sure you're gonna browse and find something suitable for you because they are dropping insane new products. So let's jump straight into it with a couple honorable mentions. I think a really interesting deck is Melodious. You can play it either pure or any other iteration. I have seen a couple, but it is extremely strong when it comes to their opening combo. It's able to play through hand traps. People are a little confused what it does still, but it is proving to be a really worthy contender because it is consistently topping, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot of development to be done with that deck still. So if you're into Pendulum and comboing and playing, you know, a bit of an interesting choice, I would definitely consider Melodious. But the other one is actually going to be Shifter decks. Just Shifter decks, period. And we will not waste too much time on that. It's either going to be Kashtira or Flunder, which in my opinion are still really strong choices. So if you have either of those decks on hand, I would also suggest that. And then I guess I also want to touch upon Purrely because it's doing quite well, but people just, you know, don't pick it up as much. Maybe it is quite a learning curve if you're trying to play Purrely, but I believe that if you're really well versed with the deck, you're going to be able to do well. So let's go ahead and get started with the actual list. The first choice for me is actually going to be Voiceless Voice. It is really a deck that, in my opinion, is kind of overlooked sometimes. There's really good decks in the meta and people maybe gravitate towards those, but Voiceless Voice, it's really consistently doing well. It is having quite a good representation in Top Cut. It is, you know, having a little issue with bricking, but let's be honest, what deck doesn't? This deck is actually able to put up very nice boards, and it's not that easy to go through all of the pieces of interruption that they put up and just to be able to deal with their back row and all of the rest. So I think even though they are not hard carried by Summon Limit anymore, Voiceless is a really cool choice. You can also pair it with Branded, and if you're into, you know, ritual summoning and those kinds of decks, I would definitely suggest Voiceless. As for the next deck, it's gonna be Branded. And let's be honest, I'm pretty sure Branded was one of the go-to choices the last couple of years, actually, when it comes to Nats season. So again, just like with Purrely, if you just have been playing Branded for quite a while, I think you're going to be able to take down some nationals with it. It is a deck with such a strong engine, and even though Ashe exists, yes, and D-barriers in the format, I know all of that, but I think it's really important to mention that if you're skilled enough with Branded, you're just going to be able to mow through the competition. You can play 50 cards, 60 cards, clean 40 with different engines. You can go for different end boards. It doesn't need to be Gimmick Puppet, but even if it is, it's still legal, so it's gonna be able to carry you. We also need to keep in mind that people might actually play more power spell cards. It's gonna depend on their choices, but in formats like these, Branded is going to be able to perform. There's still hand traps though, and siding, but I'm pretty sure that with cross out and some other tech choices, you're also going to be able to beat Ashe and the likes. So Branded is one of the go-to choices for me personally. Let's move on to Tenpai Dragon. It's a newcomer deck, but it is really solid. I'm pretty sure that why it has the tier 1.5 or perhaps even tier 2 status at this point is because a lot of people try to counter it at the beginning of this Legacy of Destruction format, which just begun. But because it sort of went down in popularity just a tiny bit because it didn't have that much representation, there might also be the case for people just not siding against Tenpai as much. And even if they do, if you have seen some of the Tenpai lists, there's literally versions with like, you know, a lot of different engines, to say the least. People have been testing this deck with just many different other archetypes, and just on its own, the OTK potential is insane. If you don't really want to be bothered with having to figure out where to disrupt some decks and you just want to play a lot of power spell cards and just hard going second cards and literally just plow through their board like it's nothing, then I'm pretty sure Tenpai is going to be for you. I genuinely think this deck has a lot of potential, and even if people counter it, I still believe it's really strong. If you have checked out my How to Beat Tenpai Dragon video, you also maybe saw that it's actually not that easy to beat it because it plays through disruption very, very easily. So, you know, if you're into that, if you like OTKing and going second decks, I think Tenpai Dragon is really, really nice. For the next deck, I do want to give some props to Fire King Snake Eyes. Yes, we have not forgotten about this deck, even though it kind of pales in comparison to the last deck on today's list, which is Pure Snake Eye. And I guess let's talk about both of these decks together, and we don't really need to spend that much time because we all know that those two choices are going to be some of the best ones, you know, out of the entire field. It's very solid. Whether you like this format or not, what I really want to say is that if you're skilled with Snake Eye, if you are good at, you know, playing in a mid-rangey style, going back and forth, if you have some good ideas for deck building, because there's still innovation to be done, especially in a field where you know you might be playing a lot of mirror matches, I think all of that is going to be very helpful if you take this type of deck to an event, because it is the best deck for a fact, and you can build it with Fire Kings. It's just going to be able to be countered a little more easily, so you might want to lean towards Pure Snake Eye, but when it comes to that version, or versions I should say, you can play it with so many different just variants and archetypes. You either include Kashdira, you can play just very interesting underdog type decks like Snake Eye Sky Striker or something like that, even Snake Eye Melodious, or you just go for the purest route possible with Omega and Dispater, or even omit Synchros altogether and just play a lot of, you know, extra deck monsters and just turn your extra deck into a toolbox. So you can do whatever you want, but if you just want to play the best deck, it is definitely going to be Snake Eye. So that's pretty much going to be it for the video. I wish you the best of luck at your nationals, and I really want to know what you're going to be playing. So let me know some interesting tech choices you might be considering for your nats. I would also love to hear that. And if you enjoyed the video, of course, make sure to give it a like. So yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching. Bye!